I
The
think
commission shall advise. Hello?
oh, I'm sorry. I
Yes?
was waiting for it to go live, but it just went live. So, yeah.
Okay. Now it's live. The Commission shall advise on and facilitate the development of programs and activities that increases public awareness, appreciation, and preservation of the cultural heritage of the City of Annapolis. The Commission shall have discretion to develop programs and projects in partnership with the Historic Preservation Commission and other heritage-related agencies and organizations that keep the cultural heritage alive in our memory as part of what has shaped us as a nation, a people, nation, and culture. This can include commemorative events, publications, monuments, markers, awards, and other educational activities. The Commission shall consider as a primary component of program and project development the educational value and public benefit associated with the Commission's proposed activities. So we've done that, and we'll move on to B, the approval of the minutes. I have minutes in front of me from March 2020 and September 20. I see we're lacking November.
November was
19th.
distributed.
I've got November
Yes.
here.
Same.
Okay. Does anyone have any changes for November? Any corrections, clarifications?
No.
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 November.
Okay.
November
all,
19.
let's,
Excuse me. November 19. November
Yes.
6, 19. Is that where
Yes.
we are?
yes.
Why did I check off local landmark request for Happy Adams? We did agree not to, right?
I don't recall myself now what we agreed to. Anyone else?
Oh.
Let me see the minutes.
I think we agreed not to do that
Do a living
project.
land- Yes, I think you're right, Alma. Yes.
Yeah, okay. And we have in an update on the Chesapeake Bay Gateway signage, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are things I checked off.
Okay, we did well from November. We did. That's of last year. We did move along on that at our September meeting.
Okay. I just went through them and I was checking off some things that I had questions about.
Okay, so that's the November 2019 meeting.
Right.
There being no other changes, do I have a motion that we approve the minutes?
I make motion that we approve the
Moved.
November 6th, 2019.
Alma moved.
Okay, and we have a second. I heard, is it David?
David?
Okay, David, second.
Yes.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Aye. Okay, it's approved. We'll move on to March. The March minutes.
Is Mr. Hay on the board now?
Yes.
Did he get approved? Okay, I
Yes,
just
he
wanted to
is.
make sure. I didn't know. Thank you.
Okay, we now have the March 4th minutes. Are there any changes or corrections to them?
No.
Okay, hearing none, do we have a motion to approve those minutes?
Alma, motion to approve.
Alma, okay, thank you. Second,
David,
Here, second.
David, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we've approved those minutes. We'll now move on to the September 2nd. Yes, I have one correction to that under old business, item number 1, W3R Eastport marker. and it says that I discussed the W3R signage with Chair Mack, and he shared the email dialogue from the installer. Actually, he did not yet share the email dialogue. He said he would look for it, and I have tried several times to contact Ted Mack, and he has not responded to any of my inquiries. So we do not have that information. At least we certainly didn't have it back on September 2nd. So I think we need to amend that to say that he will look for the email dialogue from the installer. So rather than say, and he shared, please make it read, and he will look for.
And he will look for.
The email, the rest is fine, the email dialogue from the installer.
This is Roberta. I had made a correction that he should be referred to as former Chair Mack instead of Chair Mack.
Yes, of course.
I have a very small typo. Under new business C1, it's Mrs. Taylor Toma. There's a little S at the end of her name. Otherwise, I thought they looked good.
The last line.
Thank you.
No, not Thomas, but Toma. Right.
Yeah.
Good catch.
Yep. Okay. Any other changes?
There are two of them. She does have an S or doesn't?
Does not.
Okay, yeah, then we're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm hearing no other changes or corrections to the September 2nd minutes. Do I have a motion to approve them?
I so move with corrections.
Okay, Karen, thank you. And a second
David
from
seconds.
David. Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes for September 2nd, 2020, say aye.
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 Okay, those are approved. We will now move, so all the minutes are approved. We're up to date on that. That's great. The other we move on to new business then. The upcoming Eastport project, Veterans Memorial Landscape Construction, corner Severn Avenue, 6th Street. Roberta, do you want to speak about this?
We do have a speaker who is now live, and that would be Deb Schwab, landscape architect. So hi, Deb. Deb, unmute yourself.
Haven't seen any of you in a while.
Good to see you, Deb.
Hello, Deb. This is Robert Worden. I'm the acting chairman of the commission, and I'm involved in the meeting via the telephone.
Hmm?
So if you would go ahead and tell us about your project, we'd appreciate it.
Okay, this project was brought to me through Lonnie of Garden Girls. She is trying to help the PTA and a group over at Eastport Elementary School do this project. And they came to me with an original design that they had done that put a bunch of walls on top of the utility easement. If you look at those plans that you got sent to you, there's a utility easement that runs, that's 15 feet wide, I think, parallel to the road. So, and completely wiped out all of the memorial stuff that's already there. So at our first meeting, I brought up those issues that we would have to change the design to do any any walls couldn't be on the utility easement, and that removing the existing memorials might be a little bit of an issue, and that we couldn't go ahead with anything to do with changing those memorials without coming to you folks first. So what I have sent to you is a design that's a bit of a hybrid of what they first wanted, a little bit scaled down, but is still showing the memorial changed so that we could get your this is really just to get your feedback on. Nothing's ready to be submitted for a building permit or any of that sort. It also has to meet critical area requirements, and it has to be reviewed by the Anne Arundel County School Board because it's actually on the school property. So there are, it's an enthusiastic group of citizens, but they're, I'm trying to start them going through the hurdles of getting to where they want to do. What they would like to really do is when you come over the bridge from downtown and you come into Eastport, they would like that corner to be more of a welcoming and statement corner for the entry to Eastport. So on the taller wall, they would actually like that to read Eastport Elementary School because they're very proud of the school. And they would like the memorial signage to be along the lower seat wall, which would be in front of, that would be like the lower front part when you first looked from the corner. The flagpole that's there would stay as is, and the plaques that are there now would be reused and mounted on that forward wall facing the streets. So that's kind of where we've gotten to at this point. And I'll throw it open for you guys now to see what you think they can and can't do with this.
Okay. Well, let me thank you, Deb. The role of this commission is to review the wording on signs and to ensure they're historically accurate. I don't see from the application as we've had it sent to us that there's any new signage. It's a continuation, a reuse of the old plaques. Is that correct?
Yeah, there'd be reuse of the old plaques, but there would, on the taller wall in the back, there would be new wording that said Eastport Elementary School. And on the seat wall, there's wording now for Eastport Veterans Park, but it's kind of small and it's bronze on wood and not very visible. So there would be new wording saying Eastport Veterans Park on the lower wall. I was just not aware of when a plaque is mounted on a pedestal, if a group is allowed to change that pedestal, if they have to keep it, or, I don't know where we go.
Yeah, I think that's kind of outside our purview. We sometimes will comment on some of the stylistic designs, but we're really supposed to concentrate on the historical accuracy of the words. Does anyone else have any comments about that? I don't see there's much for us to discuss about this project other than we can.
One thing that I would recommend, looking at the bottom lower corner, make sure that when they put Eastport Veterans Park, they don't put Clark.
What was that?
Down in the corner of actually two or three of them, it says Eastport Veterans Clark.
Oh, sorry, that's not actually, that's me trying to get something done quick and doing a typo.
That was going to actually go in, but just make sure that if whatever company's doing it doesn't throw that L in just for fun.
That has happened before, so yeah. Are there any other comments from the commissioners?
I think it's good.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's a great project, and it'll refresh the corner and refresh the memorial, and I think we've got no problems at all with it. So I think we can say you should proceed. I guess we will cover this with a resolution. I know the city lives and dies by its resolutions or lack of resolutions sometimes. So can I have a motion that we approve the Eastport Veterans Memorial project as submitted to us at this meeting?
I make a motion that we approve it.
Okay, thank you, David. We have a second.
Second. Karen?
Karen? Yeah. Okay, any further discussion?
No?
I hear none. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Sounds like the ayes have it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Deb, thank you very much. It was
Okay.
good
Thank you all.
presentation and a very nice project. Congratulate the folks that are in. I know you've still got a long road to travel through all the various other approvals,
Right.
but you certainly have our support.
Well, thanks to Roberta for recommending that this is where I should start.
Yes, thank you, Roberta.
You're welcome, and
Thanks,
thank you, Deb.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Deb.
Good night.
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 Good night. Okay, we'll move on now to our next new business. The first one is Suffragette Centennial Celebration Panorama, 14 State Circle, side of 196 Main Street. So this is a project that's on State Circle, on sort of the side of a building that fronts on Main Street. You have to think about that a little bit. But Roberta, do you want to
Yes,
start off?
I'll present some description of these because there is no representation tonight from the applicants. For the first one, this project was proposed from Senator Elfreth's office, and it's of great interest to the senator. We've been hearing about it for a number of months, and we have worked with her office for a complete application to be presented at the November public hearing of the Historic Preservation Commission. What I included, by the way, I had Sherry set up a Google Drive because I saw that over the last months and maybe years, that as documents are sent to the commission members, there may be a mix up between who's seeing what emails and so on. And also because we're not meeting in person, it seemed useful to actually set up a Google Drive. So please let me know if you have any issues trying to access that. But what was included with this application is the text. So there is a large photograph to be placed on the 14 State Circle side of the building, and that is a non-contributing addition to the Main Street building because it just starts on Main Street and goes on up the hill, and was attached after 1930. And that addition faces State Circle and is used as an office. And there is a stuccoed wall that faces next door, which is suddenly an odd number, 25 State Circle. So it goes from 14, which used to be 13, to 25 State Circle. And the stuccoed wall has two boarded up windows, and that would be covered by the panoramic photograph of the suffragettes from 1914. Now, what I want to mention is that in addition to the photograph, it was important for the senator to have some text with this. And the text was first designed to be placed right under the photograph. Well, there's a problem with that because you can't then read anything from State Circle. Also, I think the senator's office could use some help from the Heritage Commission, just as you did, and Karen, you did through Historic Annapolis with the city dock signs. Elaine Bachman of the Maryland State Archives, the Deputy State Archivist, provided the text. The text, to me, isn't necessarily either readable as a sign or able to be placed near the photograph. So two items have to be decided upon. And I don't know if the Heritage Commission can help in addition to looking at the text of the accuracy of the text. But the question is, can someone help with reducing this to the size that is readable, and also help the senator's office with the materials and the placement location. The senator called me today and I said, "Oh gosh, how can you call? You're still in the middle of an election." And she said, "Well, I am still in the office." And she stated that it was important for her, the recommendation in the staff report for the public hearing from our consulting architect was just to put a label on it that states who the group is and the date. But the senator feels that it's important to note when the vote was ratified and certified. So that was her input today. So that's just my introduction, and feel free to have a discussion about it and ask questions.
Okay, thank you, Roberta. The placement on the, where'd it go? Yeah, the placement on the building, I'm looking at the photograph, the color photograph that shows the mock-up of where it would go, and there's a little mural description here. Now that's the one you're saying is too small to be read because it's so high up?
It's high up and it has lots of words.
We know it has way too many words. I wonder how high that fence is that we're looking at. And that fence belongs to the neighboring property, I gather. Is there a little alleyway there, or what?
Oh, it's quite a drop. There are steps down to the alley between the buildings, and it is full of mechanical equipment. So there's
Okay.
there's no way to get beyond the fence to get up close to the photograph.
Right.
So Roberta, is it, are you able to assess if you are going to do this 1 foot by?
The title of the ladies who are protesting. So, but she wants some text, so that is to be determined. But I would say as little as possible because folks don't read lots of text. So I would suggest starting with perhaps one condensed version of it and see if that fits into the size you're just recommending. So it's hard, Robert, I know, the purview here is to review accuracy. But any help we can provide the senator would be appreciated.
Sure. Well, I think if Elaine Bachman provided this text, I don't know who we would go to do better than that as far as the accuracy goes. My reaction is, if it has to be shrunk, you take out the names of all those people.
Yep.
Sorry to see them go, but that reduces it a whole lot. And, I don't know, some slightly creative writing could combine the first and second paragraphs, but we're still, I do like the thing about despite the efforts at the very bottom. And of course, the source of the photographs has to go in.
Roberta, would the senator consider sort of a hybrid where you've got a little bit of description, not much, maybe 50 words or so, and then do a QR code like what's being proposed on the Huntington project?
Well, I suggested that to Elaine Bachman, but and I also invited her to this meetings in case she would like to describe that history that she compiled. But her response was such that she didn't want any further involvement. But until we had our own revisions. So, yes, I had thought about a QR code. I had asked if there is something related to the State House and its collections that already includes a QR code, and this could just be added to it. But I didn't get a response to that. So I think in the absence of that desire to be any more involved, we're just going to have to come up with a reduced text.
Well-
Question is, do we know who all of the numbered people are? Do we know that number 6 is Emma Waldo and number 12 or 11 is Nina Allender?
Well, they know that Moss is number 12 because
Right.
that's in the text. So I'm assuming I don't know. I assume that they were able to connect them, but
The reason I asked was because if you took those names out and you have 11 and a half feet all the way across underneath it, and if you could somehow match up names with numbers, you could put 1 and then put her name and 2 and so forth, or you could just put names underneath, and when you get to Moss, I think it is, put in parentheses number 12. I mean, it just seems like a lot of, if you're just talking one line, you probably could put all of those names under there. I like the part where it says it wasn't certified until 1958. I had no idea that was true, and that's shocking.
does that really mean that women were not voting before 1958?
That's what I thought.
That was
I asked John Tower to ask his
No.
mother.
No, that's that's not the case. It's just the vote wasn't certified. It was already approved as an amendment to the Constitution of the United States. There's Maryland. It's like some states hadn't approved the 13th Amendment abolishing slavery until the 1970s.
Okay. So they were voting.
Yeah, they were voting. Well, David's suggestion certainly it probably could be done. I'm not sure that would fly past the Historic Preservation Commission, but it's possible. As I keep looking at this, the first sentence is not there's something missing from that sentence.
Right.
It goes blah blah blah. 1914 to attend the opening. Well, there's some wording missing there. And is it important that they're attending the opening of the legislation, or they're just there on January 7th, 1914?
Yep.
Or the opening of the legislative session. And then you jump down about established in 1909. That's important. And that next sentence and the first sentence in the second paragraph is important. The rest of them, the rest of that, if we're looking to shorten it, could probably go. Maybe keep after Congress passed the 19th Amendment, and then get into the thing about Maryland didn't vote on this until 1941.
I would keep the 19th Amendment date, because I'm not sure that most people walking by have any idea when that amendment was passed.
So you're talking
they may
about
right now, but it's been talked about a lot, but in a couple of years they won't remember.
So keeping the first and the third sentence of the second paragraph.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, yes.
First and a third, okay.
so then back to the first one, changing the first, is the first sentence, if it was grammatically correct, useful?
Yeah, I think if maybe just take out those words "to attend."
I agree.
It's January 7th, 1914, comma, the opening of the legislative session.
Yes.
We need a verb.
Well, this is just, do you really? It's a caption. Members of well, then get rid of the "to." Attend the opening session, but they're not attending. They're out on the sidewalk in front. It's actually, they're preparing to attend maybe, or they've already attended and now they came back out and got their picture taken. We don't know really.
If you're really
Wait,
trying
you-
to cut language, you could just, is it important to mention that it's the beginning of legislative session? Just say it at the Maryland State House on January 14th.
Period.
Yep. And I would incorporate this Army of the Severn subtitle in that sentence too.
Yeah, that's kind of quaint.
Yeah, it's cute. But you could.
But this is the local group, which is the Army of the Severn.
Okay,
The Just Government League sounds like more of a national level
got it.
organization. This is the Maryland kind of the local chapter, but
Uh-huh.
and this group are the the Army of the Severn. I love that. So that reduces it quite a bit. The verbiage. The question still is, will it be big enough to be readable, legible on that above that fence?
Well,
And where can someone get at it? From the sidewalk, they can see it obliquely, I guess.
the senator requested today if it could possibly be put on the metal fence that was just installed at 25 State Circle. So we would have to ask Andrew Fox about that. And I don't know if that's a commission issue or not.
Not really.
I don't think,
Well, Historic Preservation Commission, that's
yes.
an ongoing
The
huge
commission.
project.
Right.
I think if we'll mention it at the Historic Preservation Commission is if that is a possibility. There really isn't any good place on the wall to put it because you would be looking at an angle at it unless you were right on the patio.
Okay. Well, why don't we, the Heritage Commission, pass a resolution that we suggest the rewording to include, as we've just discussed. And Roberta, have you captured the sense of what we discussed about the wording now?
I'm not clear on the first two sentences, but I'm not clear on how much of the first paragraph. But we are rewriting slightly the first sentence, and of course we would run that by Elaine Bachman as well. Somehow to combine the first two sentences. Karen, maybe you can help with that. And
One other Roberta, the Army of the Severn, if that's in quotes, the should be capitalized.
so I either need now or, in the next day or so that what the first paragraph is reduced down to.
Well,
I think David, that's a fun idea to label each person, but again, it's going to be very difficult to read from the street. So is it all right to just combine the first two sentences and let it go at that? Do we have to say even the part about the suffragist magazine?
No.
Okay,
I think,
so we're combining the
so-
first two sentences
But not
We're-
that we're just, aren't we going to stop at 1914 and not, we're not going to mention the attending the open legislative session?
Correct, but also somehow
And then-
including the Army of the Severn in that sentence?
Yes,
or
and
as-
then the next sentence would be this group, or we could refer to itself as the Army of the Severn.
Oh, okay, as a separate
Yeah.
sentence. Is that
Separate
good with
sentence.
you, Karen?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, then do we need a verb in the first sentence?
I don't think so, if it's just a description of what the picture is. I mean, you're just saying,
Okay,
you want
okay.
to know these people
Right.
are.
Yeah, or if you needed members of the Just Government League, a women's suffrage organization, gathering at the Maryland State House, gathered at the Maryland State House on January 7th, 1914, period. This group referred to
Good.
itself as, quote, the Army of the Severn.
Yeah, that's good, Karen.
And then that's it for that. And then we just scrap the rest unless you can somehow incorporate it in associate the numbers with the individuals.
Okay, would you mind reading that again?
Sure. Members of the Just Government League, comma, a women's suffrage organization, comma, gathered, maybe past tense, at the Maryland State House on January 7th, comma, 1914, period. This group referred to itself as, quote, capital T, the Army of the Severn, unquote.
Maybe you say they called themselves the Army of the Severn. Get
Yeah.
rid of a couple more words there.
Yeah. Called
They
themselves.
called themselves.
Instead of
Quote, the
referred
Army of
to
the Severn.
itself,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
called themselves.
The Army of the Severn.
Mayor of the Severn, capital T.
Mhm. And then
Right.
Then it goes down to established in 1909, comma. Just Government League became the largest organization, and then drop the
Okay.
second sentence in the second paragraph, and then after Congress passed the 19th Amendment. Well, do you even need to put that in there if we're really trying to scrap?
David, you wanted the 19th Amendment in
Well,
there, right?
I'm just
Yeah.
thinking of the average person who might look at
Don't
this sign.
No.
My guess is they, as Robert said, after this year, they won't know whether women got the right to vote in 1870 or 1950.
Yeah.
We won't know nothing.
No, I think that I think we should keep it in
Yeah.
for the sake of what we're passing resolution on. If it's
Yeah.
a little too wordy, maybe that could be reduced somehow. Well, let's keep it in for now. So it's established in 1909, et cetera, down to advocating for women's suffrage after Congress passed the 19th Amendment, 1920,
Yep.
Or do we want all that? Do we want after Congress passed the 19th Amendment, Maryland did not vote on this till 1941?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
you could put, although the 19th Amendment was passed in 1920,
Maryland did not vote.
yeah, Maryland did not ratify it.
Yep.
you
Yeah.
know, Or, although the 19th Amendment was passed in 1920, giving women the right to vote or something like that, Maryland itself did not ratify it until 1941.
Mhm. And I don't, Roberta, it seems to me that the purpose of this, the timeliness of it, is the 100-year anniversary. I'm sure
Right.
that's why she wants to do that. I'm a little surprised that there isn't just a nod to that. This mural is installed to commemorate the 100-year anniversary of the 19th of the women's suffrage movement, or something along those lines.
If you put something like that in, then you don't really need the 1920.
and just another point, I just happened to pull out my copy of the Constitution. I keep one right handy on my desk. And actually, the word is not passed in there, it's ratified. The
Ratified.
19th Amendment was ratified on August 18th, 1920. Because Congress probably passed it quite some time before. It had to be ratified by the states. And when they got whatever the minimum number of states that approved it, whether it's 2/3, whatever the percentage is, then the ratification takes place. So passed is probably not the right word there. The longer we look at this, the more we can pick at it, huh?
Mhm.
Well, something about the 100th anniversary could be a title.
And where would that be?
Above.
Oh, we do have. That's more words. Hello?
Yeah.
Karen, that's a good point that the 100th anniversary wasn't mentioned, but the only way I know to add it is in some sort of title, like
Yeah.
celebrating the 100th anniversary of what? Women's suffrage
Gaining the right to vote.
Yeah.
of what, David?
Women gaining the right to vote. I mean, however you word it, I'd put the emphasis on women achieving it rather than, states or Congress granting it. Because I think that's what this struggle is about, is the women that were involved rather than finally getting a bunch of men to go, okay, fine, we'll do it.
That sounds good. Women achieving the right to,
Yes.
the privilege, the right.
Yeah. Good
Right.
point.
What's the exact date in 1920?
August 18th. It was ratified.
1920.
Robert,
Yes?
I think maybe Congress did pass it. I think the states ratified it. And when enough had ratified it, probably Congress then put it up for a vote and passed it.
Yeah, quick Google search just says passage of the 19th Amendment. 2020 marks the 100th anniversary of the passage of the 19th Amendment.
Who's the source of that?
This is the American Bar Association. I don't know if that's credible enough. It's not Wikipedia.
Okay, Karen.
But it's not history.
All right, where are we at now? Let's keep moving on this.
Well, we're still whether to create a title such as celebrating the 100th anniversary of women achieving the right to vote.
How about, rather than 100th anniversary, say centennial? That's one word.
Mm-hmm. And then should 2020 go in there?
I think so.
Who said? Yes.
I do.
Yes, because otherwise they may think these women were celebrating the 100th anniversary.
Yeah, it says by the Mellon State Archives, 13th of October.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back to the second paragraph and the 19th Amendment, whether to leave it as it is or change it. Why don't I just send out what we have so far? And you can edit from there. This does not have to be done by the time of the public hearing.
Okay. I think that's a good idea, Roberta. I think we certainly have a sort of a tentative approval of a draft text that's in the works. But if you send it out and everyone please reply yay or nay or with comments and whatever back to Roberta, and we'll have that one accomplished.
At that point, I'll send it to Elaine Bachman, and then the next task would be figuring out how it is displayed and what materials.
When you send it back to Elaine, you might just put in there that we revamped things because she asked us to do it. We're not picking apart what's been written, right? We were asked to try
To reverse words and changing them around a little bit.
That's right, yes. Thank you, David. Good.
So it doesn't look like, well, this is pretty shoddily written, here's what we suggest. You know, I think we simply say, since you asked for, you know, to make it a little shorter, here's a suggestion or something.
She didn't ask that.
Oh, okay. Well, then whoever you send it to, we might want to put in the fact that we're responding to a request.
Yeah.
Rather than we just, you know, decided we'd all take it apart.
She does
Okay.
she does understand that it may need to be shorter in
Okay.
order to be read.
Okay.
Very good. Can we move on to the next one then?
Yes.
Full justice under law mural.
All right. This is proposed by the Future History Now project, and a sub-project of that is Kids Making History. And there are, I guess, 10 or 12 murals designed over 4 or 5 years under that project. This one is proposed for another blank stuccoed wall, and this is at 156 South Street, which is an attorney's office, a non-contributing building built around 1950. The original proposal, which was deemed feasible, just as the previous project was deemed feasible by the commission at its, I believe, September meeting, included at first, well, backing up, I was told it included 4 or 5 people that the attorneys who own the building wanted, but that was not desired by the artist. So then it was just one person, Justice Thurgood Marshall, and with the theme, Equal Justice Under Law. After Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, it was noted that she also was a great proponent of equal justice under law, and so she was added. I added this project in simply because they both are coming up before the HPC, and if you have anything to comment on, and by the way, if you wanted to comment on the other one for the HPC, you can do that, and you can comment on this one.
Okay.
This, instead of any long description, has a QR code. And the QR code will be connected to actually a child's interpretation of the mural.
That leads to a interesting question, because that QR code will lead a viewer to some more text. Should this commission not review that text as well?
Boy,
It's a virtual text.
I I think
But-
so.
Yeah, that's a very slippery slope though, right?
Yep.
Because if we're gonna do that, then do we have an obligation to review everything that's put on any device?
In our spare time, yes, David.
Yeah.
No, I want to say no. I don't think that it obligates us, but if we choose to want to see some text, I mean, the text we're seeing here, which is in the the yellow, it's just the names, the dates,
Right,
and the attribution. There's really not much for us to do. I suppose we could double check those dates. Are those really their birth dates? And we know that's the death dates. Otherwise, there's nothing to do on this really, except to prove it.
right.
Looks good,
Why don't you make a comment to the public hearing requesting to see the text of the tour, this tour stop?
Okay, well, I can do that. I think it'd be interesting. Just maybe we don't want to comment on it, but I think we should be allowed to see it.
Okay,
It's sort of like the Supreme Court. They don't. They get all sorts of requests to hold hearings, and some they decide to look at, and many they don't.
right.
We can be like that.
It was important for me also to have you look at it because we don't want anything like we saw with Michelangelo spelled. So
Right.
you are so good at checking accuracy that on both of these, the photograph and the mural, it's important to have all of the spellings and dates correct, and
Right.
and text if applicable.
Right.
So I would
Okay.
suggest
So I will.
making a
I'll
comment
launch
on
a
both.
comment onto the HPC hearing. Which is coming up.
Correct. That's on the 10th. So I would comment
Now-
on both.
I can comment on both.
I would suggest commenting on both for the public hearing.
Okay, I'll do that. I guess just a question. We're looking here at a photograph, but this is going to be a mural. It's going to be
It's
a
actually
painting
not
of
a
these.
photograph. It is painted.
Right.
This is, it's.
So it's an artist's rendition using this photograph. Is that correct?
Right, but it's not, it's not like the suffragette. It is
Right,
it is a paint technique.
Right. Right. The suffragettes is a real photograph. This is going to be artwork, which is not within our purview recently. It's just a question. And the title, Equal Justice Under Law, would stay the same, and then we see painted faces and then printed captions. Okay.
And there is a window on the building, and that will be the frame and the sash will be painted to blend in with the background. It's a window that is not used,
Okay.
similar to the one
Okay.
on-
And this is on South Street, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it's that one. It's the first building you should come down the street where there's lawyers and architects and various professional offices across from the courthouse, up there at the
Okay.
top of the street near the bank.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Okay, let's move on. Do we want a resolution about this, or we've discussed it? We have no problems with it particularly.
You should have something for the minutes.
Okay, so let's have a resolution that we have reviewed and commented on the equal justice under law mural. We would like to see the QR code text, and the acting chair will forward that comment to the Historic Preservation Commission.
So move.
Second.
Second. Okay.
Do you want a resolution for the suffragette?
Yes, we'll do that too. How about we need a motion to approve the suffragette centennial celebration panorama with suggested reduction of wording as follows, and we would, put in the wording that we've discussed after we've all seen it one more time via Roberta.
So move for.
Okay, moved. We have a second? Second?
Seconded.
Okay. And first we'll approve the suffragette centennial panorama photo. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then we'll approve the equal justice under law mural. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Right. Okay, both these resolutions are passed. We approve both with certain qualifications. Move on to the W3R Eastport marker. There's been a little bit of action there. I've been in contact with Genevieve Torrey, who's the chair of the Art and Public Places Commission. We had a little bit of a back and forth. Tim Leahy, the chair of the Preservation Commission, was also involved in the discussion, as was Roberta eventually. And Ms. Torrey said she thought, I'm quoting from memory here, that she thought that had been taken care of, quote unquote, but since she heard from me that it had not been, she would look into it. So that was as of about 2 days ago, or maybe it was even yesterday. So there's a little tiny bit of activity there. At least I see it's somewhat positive. At least she thought that quote had been taken care of, meaning that either the sign had been taken down or had been corrected. But it hadn't been corrected because we've never seen it again. So, and it's still there. It was there last time I passed by that point, which was just several days ago. So that's just information. We don't need any resolution on that. Any discussion on Eastport marker? We can move on. Okay. On letter E, administrative business, we have the 2020 annual report. We've seen the text. I trust you've all taken a look at it. It's very straightforward. The only comment I had, Roberta, I'm sorry, but I don't think this was prepared on January 6th, 2020.
Yes, this is last year's, an example from last year. So this year's has not been written.
Okay.
So this is just to let you know that I will be working on the report for this year and probably send it out for any changes before it's submitted.
Okay. Okay, very good then. So that's good progress on getting that report underway.
Is that a city requirement or is it because of CLG status?
It's a code requirement. All boards and commissions have to submit an annual report. Robert, I do have another agenda item, and that would be to confirm meeting dates for 2021. And I listed some meeting dates. Would you like me to read them?
Yes, please, for the sake of the minutes.
So it would be the first Wednesday of the month, which is January 6th, March 3rd, May 5th, July 7th, September 1st and November 3rd.
Okay,
Every other month.
every other month.
I didn't get all of them because I was writing them down.
Okay, well, they'll be in the minutes.
Okay, all right.
Okay, is there any other business? I get back to the agenda. That looks like that was it.
Alma, do you want us to reread those dates?
No, he said they'll be in the minutes.
Okay.
I do not have, what is that? Send the minutes to me, please. I can't even think of what I mean right now. But someone just send the minutes to me. I don't have a.
Well, the
Record.
minutes will. Tammy gets them done. They'll be sent out to you, Alma, and everybody.
If you hard copy them to me, please.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Sure.
The one important thing to remember, Alma, would be the next meeting, which is January 6th.
January 6th?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right, I got that.
What I will do is I'll just type up these dates also so Marcy knows what the dates are for next year. So we don't have to wait for the minutes to be ready.
There's no other meeting until January the 6th,
Yes, ma'am.
That's the next meeting. Is January 6th.
2021. Okay.
Right.
Maybe one day we'll meet.
One day we'll meet. Okay.
I'm not
Is there
rushing
any
it.
other announcements or any other comments to make? I hear none. So we have a motion to adjourn.
Move
The
that.
move
6:11.
for adjournment. At 6:12.
6:12. My clock just turned. Okay. Do I have a
We can go count.
A motion made there?
votes.
and second?
I'll
I second.
David?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Say aye, please. Okay. All opposed? Okay. Okay, that ends the meeting. Thank